Hey guys, this is Caleb with White Metal Games again. This is part 2 of a series of videos that's going to show you how we built our Emperor class Titan. If you missed part 1, then you may want to look through our videos. It's probably right before this video post-wise. I'll see if I can put a link in the comment section below here. Just to summarize, we decided a few months ago we wanted to start building an Emperor Titan. We've been gathering parts for this for many years. And finally just decided it was time to build it. We've cut our teeth on some smaller projects, wanted to go ahead and move on to a big one. So review the first video, and I'll catch you up with that. And then we're going to go right back to where we left off in the first video, which was we had talked about the lower body. We were starting to talk about the upper body. So as I mentioned in the last video, the upper body did not entirely flush up with the lower body when it comes to leveling and balance. Now the reason I feel like the leveling is so important with this is that we're going to actually put a platform of some sort up on top of this thing when this is all said and done, which is going to support a small city. So just to give you an idea of what that's going to look like, this is probably not the piece we're going to use, but this is a 20-inch by 12-inch oval from Walnut Hollow. You can get this hand-delivered to you, or you can buy this at most Michael's Arts and Crafts stores. So we're going to put something like this on the top of this thing. The reason we're deciding to use a solid piece of wood is, one, we can drill through it, which is in our plan to mount this. We want to be able to break this model into several pieces for shipping or storage purposes. So we want to make sure that we don't adhere this to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a 2-inch hole through this thing and mount pipe through it, so the pipe will actually come through the bottom and be able to mount in here. For storage purposes, and we can even create a small display coupling for this if we decide to. So it's going to look something like that on its shoulders. Of course, some small towers and city parts will be mounted to it. This is not the piece that's going to be actually mounted, but just to give you an idea, it'll be something along these lines. So you'll see there'll be several large towers, several gun batteries coming off of this, several missile silos, that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to that. Where was I? So the reason I thought this was very important to have this level was so that the city, when it's up on the shoulders, wouldn't slink over too much. Now, up on top here, this is level again. So again, I'm not an architect. I don't know why this is level now, but the lower body is not level. I'm going to count my blessings and say that's great. And just go with it. So fortunately, I'm not too worried. So this is 2-inch pipe sections, and these are 2-inch adjoining pipe sections. This T-intersection up here is used for the shoulders. Now, obviously, on a traditional model like this, usually you would think the head would be above it, but with a Titan model, the head is actually around the chest, so this worked out well. As you can see, here's another section. This is an unusual T-intersection with this 90-degree arc off of it. Both of those pieces together cost around $20, $25, I think. So the piping is not cheap. You should be prepared for that. You're going to blow $100 to $150 on piping, couplings, and that sort of thing to make this model work. And that's just for the basic model. Some of our weapon sections, like the guns I'm going to show you in a few minutes, incorporate 3-inch pipe, which is even bigger. And for several of the cannons we're going to have to build for this thing, we're going to also use additional piping. So that's going to be, a half-inch pipe, quarter-inch pipe, or something like that. So we're prepared for even more cost. Emperor Titans are not for the faint of heart, and they're not to be built cheaply. So just be prepared for that. To give you a sense of scale, we've got some terrain pieces down here in addition to the basic feet. Now, one advantage of mounting these feet to these higher platforms, 2 reasons. One is that the screws would not cut through the wood as much, so that helped out a lot. It also sort of lends the appearance that this guy is actually walking, so we're going to actually put some what do you call it, some styrofoam, hard foam sheets on here to make it look like he's walking across a landscape of some sort, maybe a ruined city. I'm not entirely for sure yet. We're going to have some crashed vehicles. We're going to go the whole 9 yards. But because these are slightly suspended over, it gives the impression that he's walking across something, which I like, actually. I think it works well. And because these pieces aren't load-bearing, it's really the legs that are load-bearing. We have the authority to do that and not worry about it. So again, we just cut out some, with these pieces, I think we cut some 4-inch pieces, and we put those in there. Now remember, some of your lip is going to disappear underneath the piping in here, so be prepared for that. My best advice is just do a lot of measuring and be prepared to take a lot of time to do this. For the guns, we started on 2 guns on the arms. First gun here we're using is sort of a giant mega bolter kind of thing. I forget what the name is on the profile, but it's this large 6-barreled assembly. Now, traditionally, the Forge Forward models have thinner barrels and they taper down. I wanted something that looked kind of hefty, so I decided to go with a very, very thick pipe. We smeared this purple glue all over it. Now, fortunately, the glue is simply a stain. You're not going to see it when this thing's primed. We do have to do some sanding, and we're going to have to glue this piece into here. But that is going to mount onto his arm, probably over here. Something like this. As you can see, there you go. Now, that's going to be pretty heavy, but fortunately, we've glued these arms into position, so that's not going to be so bad. The other arm we're using is going to be a plasma annihilator. It's going to mount in a similar way. We're probably going to mount it in a similar way like this. And that's going to give us our texture on top for the plasma cannon. Got a narrower end down here at the end for sort of the weapon barrel. So that's going to look nice. I think we're going to add some boxing to the bottom of that. So again, this is a very rough state of the model, but we're coming along pretty well, I think. We're on the right track. For the head of this thing, finding the head for a model like this is really, really tough because you want a head that's about 6 inches tall, and it's too small to be a mask, and it's too big to be an action figure or anything like that. So finding the head for me was the hardest part, almost. I looked through a bunch of different options, Halloween decorations, Halloween skulls, that sort of thing, masks. Ultimately, because this is going to be a Space Wolf Titan, I decided a wolf face would be pretty cool. So I found this in a Walmart. This was a skull for an aquarium. You found this in the fishing section, and the skull cost about $10, I think, like that. I think it's actually meant to be like an alligator skull, maybe. So what we're doing is we are going to convert this into a giant wolf skull. We've used some technological bits to make it look kind of steampunky. We are trying to replicate the wolf skull from their basic box set, which, if I can find the picture, there's a couple pictures of wolves. So here's a good close-up picture of one of the wolf helmets from the Space Wolf box set. So we're going to try to replicate something like that. And so it'll end up being a little something like that. Here's the skull as it is right now. There's the skull on that guy. As you can see, there are some variations there, but I think it's close enough that it's going to look fine. So I'm pretty excited about it. So, yeah, there's the head for it. And we've got the basic body in place, as you can see, walking man. Now, obviously, this is just the foundation for this piece. This is nowhere near the end of this piece. We're nowhere near done. We're going to do many more videos on this. We've got tons of small bits that I'm not going to go into detail now for this thing to graph it out. We've got hosing and wiring. We've got tons and tons of Cities of Death sort of bits for this sort of thing that we plan on using for leg guards, arm guards, body pieces. Our plan right now is to bulk up the midsection with small boxes. Basically, instead of using 1 or 2 large boxes, we're going to use smaller boxes and fill in this negative space here. And sort of bulk that all out, and then sort of hang it across your shoulders, almost like you would a jersey or a tank top, to sort of support the weight on that. And then we're going to have the upper city here flush with what will be his mechanical shoulders there. So there's tons of work to go on this thing. We're nowhere near done. We've got probably months of work ahead of us, but this is the beginnings, humble beginnings. So, you know, we wanted to show you how we're doing it, just so that if you were interested in doing this sort of thing, you could. Additionally, you know, everyone sees Emperor Titans out there. You can look on the internet and look for Warlord Titan, Imperator Titan, Emperor Titan, and find plenty of images. And some guys even take the time to walk you through basically how they did it. But no one's I don't think has done a complete video series on how to build one. And so we wanted to try that. Obviously, you know, we're going to suffer from mistakes. We're going to have some pitfalls. We're going to make some mistakes. So just be prepared for that. We may have to go back and change some things, but we're looking forward to the challenge, and we hope you are too. We hope you will follow us through this series and let us know what you think. Give us your comments. If you're interested in having a model commissioned, even one as big as this, contact us at caleb@whitemetalgames.com. We're happy to speak with you regarding commissions or clients or whatever. Until then, happy wargaming and take care.